Halito! Our channel Falam Hashlaga Achugma. Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the 31 most useful verbs that'll help you get started on your language journey. I think these are the ones that are the most common used in everyday speech, and so hopefully with these words it'll help you start speaking and having small conversations. Me, Kilistia. All right, so we're going to get on to our first verb, and that first verb is going to be impa. Impa. So impa is more of a general term for to eat. To eat. So you wouldn't necessarily use it if you're naming an item that you're eating. So an example would be like ishimpaha. Ishimpaha. Did you eat? You're not naming anything that was ate. You're just asking, have you eaten? And so, like I said, impa is the general word for to eat. Impa. All right, and so that segues into our next verb, which is apa. Apa. So impa is the general word for to eat, but when you're naming your item, like say if you're eating bread or something like that, then you would have to be specific and use apa. Apa. So a sentence would probably be like Palaska apale. Palaska apale. I'm eating bread. I'm eating bread. So whenever you're naming the item which you're eating, then that's when you would use apa, apa. Not necessarily impa, but apa. All right. And so since we're talking about eating, whenever you eat, you also like to drink. And so that goes into our next verb, which is ishko. Ishko. So ishko is just the word for to drink. And so if you wanted to say like I'm drinking water, uka ishkole, uka ishkole, I'm drinking water. Ishko. Oh me. So the next word is gonna be hulasuchi. Hulasuchi. So hulasuchi just means to write. To write. So if you wanted to say, what are you writing? You can just ask, Nanta ish hulasuchi. Nanta ish hulasuchi. What are you writing? So hulasuchi, to write. Oh me. So the next word is going to be hochifu. Hochifu. Now don't get this mixed up with hochifu, which is name, and hochafu, which is hungry. This word is hochifu. Hochifu. And hochifu just means to read. To read. So if you wanted to say something like, I'm reading a book, you can just say, Holeso hochifole. Holeso hochifole. So hochifo, to read. All right, so we were talking about reading and writing, but now we're going to be talking about speaking. Speaking. And so the word for to speak or to talk is anumpule. Anumpule. So if you wanted to say, like, it's very common to say this word because when you're learning Choctaw, this is pretty much the first words that you're going to be learning. And so the phrase you often hear is Chahta kill anumpule. Chahta kill anumpule. So this is just saying, let's speak Choctaw. Let's speak Choctaw. So anumpule, anumpule, to speak or to talk. The next verb is going to be a two-parter because sometimes we have regular verbs and then we have nasalized verbs. And so it's both sound the same, but just with one little pronunciation change. So this next word is going to be hucklo, hucklo, or honklo, honklo. So sometimes they associate different words with different things. And so hucklo is more so of like listening, and then honklo is more of like hearing things. And it's weird to say that because some people might ask, isn't that the same thing? If you're listening, you're hearing. If you're not hearing, then you're probably listening. And I don't know, it's a whole mess of things. But the way I was always taught is just like if you're like, like you're like, what is that? And you're just listening, then that would be like haklo. And then someone would ask you, not this haklo, not this haklo. What are you listening to? What are you listening for, or something like that. And then also whenever you're listening, but then you're like, oh yeah, that's what I hear, or something like that. Then you would just say honklo, honklo. You can say taloa honklale, taloa honklale. I hear music, I hear music, and so sometimes it can change depending on how you're speaking or what are you talking about and stuff like that. But for generalization, haklo could mean to listen, and then honklo could mean to hear. So I'm not going to dive too much more into that, but haklo to listen, honklo to hear. So now we're going to get into our next word, which this is a common thing that most people do every day or whenever they can. You can do it online or you can do it in person. And so that word is going to be chompa, chompa. So chompa just means to buy or to purchase. So if you're buying things online or if you're going to the actual stores and buying stuff, then you would use chompa for to buy or to purchase. So if you want to say I bought new shoes, you can say sholosh himona chumpalituk. Sholosh himona chumpalituk. I bought new shoes. Chumpa, to buy or to purchase. Umi, so the next word we're going to get into is atubi. Atubi. So atubi just means to pay. Whether you got to pay somebody, someone's going to pay you, or even if you got to pay your bills, which I don't like to do. And so atubi is the word you would use for to pay. So a sentence I would probably say is Amahika atubilituk. Amahika atubilituk. I paid my bills. Thank goodness, because I need the lights and I need my gas and I need whatever else. So atubi, to pay. Okay, so the next word we're going to get into kind of relates to the last two words. Chompa means to purchase, to buy. Atubi means to pay. And so the next word we're going to get into is kanchi. Kanchi. And so kanchi just means to sell. To sell. Now, I will say that sometimes in Choctaw, a word can have multiple meanings. And so this is one of the words that could have multiple meanings depending on what you're saying or how you're saying it. So, but most commonly, this word would be used as to sell. So don't wrap your head too much around the other meanings unless you come across a speaker that's using kanji in a different way. Then you can ask then. But for now, I'm just going to teach it as to sell because that's the most common form of kanji. And so, kanji, to sell. Now, if you're going to ask somebody, what are you selling? You can just ask, Nanta ish kanji. Nata is kanji. So kanji, the most common form is to sell. And our next word is noa. Noa. And so noa is our word for to walk. To walk. And so if you wanted to say just I'm walking, noale, noale, I'm walking. Noa, to walk. All right, so we learned about walking. So we now need to learn about balele. Balele. So balele means to run. And so another note I wanted to give you guys is that, sometimes our verbs can also be changed to nouns. So like in this case of this one right here, balele can mean to run, or it can also mean a runner. So I'll give you two examples. So to run, you can say, Pilashas balele litok. Pilashas balele litok. Yesterday I ran. Maybe you like ran a marathon or something like that, or you ran in a track meet or something like that, and you're telling them, Pete, Palashas, balele took, I ran yesterday. But also, you can, like I said, you can turn that verb into a noun. So you can say, um, Baliliat, Balilat Issa took, the runner stopped running. Maybe, I don't know, you're watching the marathon or something, or what do you call it? Iron Man or whatever it's called. And then all of a sudden, this runner stops running. So he said, Baliliyat, Balilit Isatuk, Baliliyat, Balilit Isatuk. And so, Balili. to run, or as a noun, it can be a runner. Balile. Okay, so the next word we're going to get into is punaklo. Punaklo. And I like to use this one a lot because I have a lot of things I want to ask. So punaklo it just means to ask. To ask. And the most common phrase that I use is Nanachi punaklo sabana. I want to ask you something. And so punaklo can mean to ask. Okay, and so the next word we're going to get into kind of segues from the last word. So if you're asking something, someone is going to tell you something. And so to tell is anuli. Anuli. So I also use that same phrase from asking to saying I want to tell you something. Nana chimanoli sabanna. Nana chimanoli sabanna. I want to tell you something. So anole means to tell. Okay, and so this next word has, I would say, many different ways of saying it. So, but I'm going to teach you the most common two basic forms of this word. And so the word to say, there's so many ways to say it depending on how you're saying things, who you're talking to, and which speaker is using which word, And so it could be a lot confusing, but I want to teach you the most two basic ways of saying this. And so you would just say by itself, which means to say, or chi, which also means to say. And the reason I bring this up is because sometimes we say something like P makale, P makale. And so P just means just, mak means that, and then to say, and then le, P makale, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that. But also I hear people say something like if you're telling your kids to stop doing something or whatever, and they'll say, Issa ale, Issa ale. And so they're saying le, le. And so when they're saying that, Issa ale, they're saying, stop, I say. Stop, I say. And so it sounds weird in English because we probably wouldn't say it like that, but it sounds perfectly normal in Choctaw. Issa ale is how they would say it. I heard my mom say that to me a few times. So, um, anyways, but achi is another way to say to say. So sometimes, like, we don't, when you're speaking in a first person, most of the time you're going to say maka, or you're going to say by itself, like ale or whatever. But when you're referring to other people or something like that, like say, Yako ke chimachele, that's how most common thing I hear all the time. Yako ke chimachele. And so in this case, we're using achi because it would sound weird if you say Yakoki Chimale, because now that's a word in itself, which means to give you. So it almost sounds like I'm giving you thanks, which is not necessarily the correct way to say that. And so instead of saying Chimale, which just add that achi in there. So Yakoki Chimachele, I'm saying thanks to you, basically. Thank you, I say to you, is how you would probably translate it. So and achi both can mean to say. And so there you go. I mean, it is confusing, and I'm sorry sometimes that it might be confusing, but the most basic two ways to say is or achi. Oh me. So we're going to get into our next verb, but before we do that, I just want to mention that, in Choctaw, you can have a verb by itself, and that's fine, but Choctaw also has singular verbs, dual verbs, and plural verbs. And so what I mean by that is there's three different words for one meaning. So to go, for instance, we're gonna learn is ia, ia. So ia is actually our singular form of to go. And so most of the time you would hear something like, ai tutuba iale, Aitatoba yale. And so what I mean by singular, it means I alone am going to the store. Aitatoba, store, yeah, to go, and le, I am going to the store. And so there's nobody around me. I'm not taking someone with me. I'm not taking a dog or something like that. And so I alone am going. So that's what I mean by singular. And so I toba yale. And you also change up the sentence saying something like hatak mat I toba iya. Hatak mat I toba iya. That man is going to the store. And so you can use it like that with different people or something like that. But as long as it's only one person that is going, then you can use ia. And so, and as mentioned, dual and plural. So the dual form of to go is itiachi. Itiachi. And so this only means that two people are going now. And so if you want to say hatak micha ohoyo mat ayatatuba itiachi, you're saying that man and woman are going to the store. So you wouldn't use ia because, like I said, it's one person going. So itiachi is two people going. So hatag micha ohoyo mat aitatoba ia, that man and woman are going to the store, saying that there's two. Now there is a plural form of to go also, which is the third verb we're going to get into here, and that word is ishkoli. Ishkoli. So this means that are three or more. So it could be three, or it could be way more than three. It could be like 100 people, or more than that even. And you're still going to use ishkoli, ishkoli. And so if you wanted to say we are going to the store, you would say Aitatoba ilishkoli, Aitatoba ilishkoli. And so ia, singular verb to go for one person. Itiachi, two people are going, and then iskoli, three or more people are going. And I know that was a handful, and I'm sorry, and I don't want you to wrap your head around this too much, but just know that if you say like those two people are going to the store and you use ia, most speakers are going to know what trying to say, but the correct way you would say is itiachi. Or if there's like a group of them with three or more, then you say iskoli. So, like I said, don't wrap your head around this too much. Just learn it. Repeat this video if you need to, if you need further explanation. But iya itiachi ishkoli, to go. Okay, so we're going to get into the next word, which is another two-parter. Just like haklo and honklo, we have hokle and honkle. And so one is in the state of, and one is in the action of, or something like that. So example is just like, you're going for a catch. Someone's about to throw you a ball. And so you tell them, "Ont hokle, go and catch it." So in the action means like it's in the air and you're ready to catch it or something like that. But once you've caught it, then it becomes honkle. So to be caught. One is to catch, the other is to be caught. And so, hokle, to catch. Honkle, to be caught. So, an example, like I said, you could tell someone, on hokle, go and catch it. But once they caught it, it'd be honkle. So they could say, toa honkle took, I caught the ball. So, hokle, to catch, and honkle, to be caught. Oh me, so we're going to get into our next word, which is pilla. Pilla. So if hukle is to catch something, that means somebody has to throw something. So that's what pilla is. Pilla. So sometimes you can say, like eat pilla, eat pilla. So that's saying like throw it this way, throw it this way, eat pilla. But sometimes also you can use it as like to send. But I don't want you to get your mind wrapped around about that either, because we're going to use the most dictionary form of the verb. But it can mean to send as well. So, like if someone like were to send me like a text message, for instance, you could say, "Ano ba itang pelatuk?" Anupa itam pilatuk. Like he sent me a text message or something like that. And so, but a long time ago, I guess, we should say holiso itam pilatuk. He sent me a letter, or she sent me a letter, or something like that. But pila, to throw or to send. All right, and so we're going to get into our next word, which is ikana. Ikana. So our next word after this is going to kind of relate to this as well, but I'm going to use it as a two-parter. And so the word ikana means to know, to know. And sometimes it can mean like to remember, but the most common form is to know. And so if you wanted to ask somebody, do you know that guy? Do you know that guy that's over there? Stuff like something like that. So you can say hatagma shikanaho. Hatagma shikanaho. Ish ikanaho. Like do you know? Do you know? And then hatagma, of course, that man. And so ikana. Just try to remember that pronunciation because this next word is going to be kind of similar to it. So ikana, to know. Umi. So the next word is ikana, ikana. And so remember, I said it kind of sounds like the last word we learned, which is ikana, to know, and ikana means to learn, to learn. So if you want to say I'm learning Choctaw, you can say Chahta ikanale, Chahta ikanale. Now you have to learn the pronunciation of both of these words because sometimes it can be confusing. Some speakers might know what you're saying, but this one can be the confusing one because if you say chatta economy to someone, they're going to be like, oh, okay, because you're saying, I know Choctaw, I know Choctaw. But if you're learning it and you're just now starting out and you say that to someone, they might start speaking back to you and you're like, oh, no, wait, I don't know. I don't know all these words, but you said you know Choctaw. So the right way you would have to say is chatta economy, Chahta Kanale, and that's saying I'm learning Choctaw. So know the difference, and I'm gonna say them both. Chahta Kanale, I know Choctaw. Chahta Kanale, I am learning Choctaw. So Ikana, Ikana. Don't get them confused. Ikana, to know. Ikana, to learn. Okay, and so the next word is abachi, abachi. And so this word means to teach. So if you know or if you're learning, you also need someone to teach. And so if someone is teaching you, you can say Hatagmat Amabachi. Hatagmat Amabachi. That man is teaching me. That man is teaching me. So Abachi, to teach. All right, and so the next word we're going to get into is another two-parter. And this one is Pisa and Pinsa. Pisa and Pinsa. And so pisa is more so like to look, but it also can mean to see, which is kind of ironic because the next word pisa is more so to see. And so if I wanted to say something like, hulba tuba himona pisa lachi, I'm gonna go see the new movie or the new picture or whatever. Uh, hulba tuba pisa lachi, I'm gonna go see the new movie. But then, let's say you went there to the movies or something like that, and you already saw the movie, and so you're telling somebody about it. Then you would use that same sentence, but you'd use the nasalized form this time. You'd say, "Hoba tuba himona pinsalitok." Hoba tuba himona pinsalitok. And so sometimes you might see pinsa spelled Pinsa, and some people might say pinsa. That is not the correct pronunciation. And so I'll probably make another video on why like sometimes they spell it this way. It's more so to help people who are learning Choctaw to kind of pronounce it right. But sometimes I think it's doing the opposite. It's kind of making them say the complete opposite or say it incorrectly. Anyways, so pisa, more so to look or to go and see something if you haven't done it yet. And then when you've done it, then it becomes pinsa, pinsa. So to look, to see. Okay, and so this next one is kind of relative to the last one we just learned. This word means more so to search for something. So if you see someone, no, I don't know, digging in the trash or, looking in a closet or a cabinet or something like that, you can say, Nata ish hoyo. Nata ish hoyo. So the word hoyo means to search. And so sometimes, I don't know if I mentioned this, but like a lot of Choctaw words have multiple meanings. And so sometimes one word could mean a multitude of things. So you can say, Nata ish hoyo. What are you searching for? And then you can say, Kata ish hoyo. Who are you waiting for? And you can also mean to pick up. It can also mean to order. But the most common form of hoyo is to search. To search. So, like I said, if someone's like digging around somewhere and it looks like they're really searching for something, you say, Nata ish hoyo. Nata ish hoyo. What are you searching for? So, hoyo, to search. Okay, let's get into the next word. So the next word is something that I personally like to do, which is taloa. Taloa. And so taloa means to sing as a verb. Now, remember that some verbs can also be turned into a noun. So taloa could also mean, as a noun, it could mean a singer or it could also mean a song. So, but we're learning about verbs, and so taloa, to sing, to sing. So you could ask somebody, Nata ish taloa? Nata ish taloa? What are you singing? What are you singing? But also, like, if you want to say, Kata, taloa mato kata, taloa mato kata, who is that singer? So, but like I said, we're trying to get into verbs. So, taloa, to sing. Well, me, let's get into the next verb. The next verb is something that Choctaws love to do, other than eat, of course. Uh, and so this verb is yukpa, yukpa. And so yukpa is to laugh. So if you like to laugh, or you're laughing at somebody, or someone's laughing at you, then you're probably just Choctaw and you're probably just family. And so people are going to laugh at you anyway. So, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, yukpa means to laugh, but it also can mean to smile. And so a sentence you could probably say is, Nata ishi yukpa. Nanta ishi yukpa. What are you laughing at? Uh, that's like one of the favorite things I like to ask when people are snickering and it's all serious. You're supposed to be serious or something like that, and they're just giggling or something like that. Nanta ishi yukpa. What are you laughing at? But of course, like I said, Choctaws love to laugh, and so yukpa, to laugh or even to smile. Well, me. So we're going to talk about a lot of the things that I like to do apparently. So of course, I like to eat, I like to laugh, I like to sing, and also I like to nosi. Nosi. So nosi just means to sleep, to sleep. And so one of my favorite phrases, and probably your favorite phrase too, is going to be nosi sabanna, nosi sabanna. I want to sleep. So nosi, to sleep. Okie dokie. So we're going to talk about the next word, which is wakaya. Wakaya. And so this one means to get up or to rise. More so if you're in a sitting position, they say wakaya. That means get up from a sitting position or rise. Back in the old days, you say rise, or they might say it in church. They say rise, and so you would say wakaya. But most of the time, if you're actually in church or something like that, or if you're at a gathering or something like that, no matter where you are, and there's like a lot of people there, then the phrase you probably hear is Huwakaya, Huwakaya, which kind of means like everybody get up. And so that whole just simply um, alludes to, everybody get up. But if you're talking to one person, Wakaya, like my auntie, she used to tell me all the time, like, you better get up for your elders and stuff like that, or you better get up for your mom or your uncle or something like that. So she would say, like, well, oh yeah, get up, get up. And so never be sitting if there's an elder standing up. So it's a lesson I learned a long time ago. So anyway, so wakaya, to rise or to get up from a sitting position. Okay, so the next word we're going to learn is another word to say get up, but it's more so for a laying position. And so if you're laying down, you would use the word tani, tani. And so tani, it just means to rise up from a laying position, to get up from a laying position. And so um, this is something that I don't usually like to do in the morning. So you could say tani sabanakyo, tani sabanakyo, like I don't want to get up. And that's referring to like, that it just means like you're in bed, or whether you're lying in bed, you're lying on the ground, you're laying outside. As long as you're in a laying position, you can use the word tani to get up from a laying position. Okay, and so the next word we're going to get into is tushki. Tushki. So this means to lie down, to lie down. Not necessarily to be lying down, but it means to lie down. So the action of getting into bed, the action of laying on the floor or something like that. So getting into the laying position is tushki, tushki, which I'm also going to give you the word for lying down while you're lying down, which is itonla, itonla. And this also has singular, dual, and plural verbs as well, but we're just going to get into the singular for right now. So tushki is to get into the laying position, but once you're laying down, then it becomes itunla, itunla. So tushki to get into a laying position, itunla to be in a laying position. Well, man, so sometimes just like pisa, pinsa, hokli, honkli, haklo, honklo, there's two different meanings for like kind of slightly different words. This next word has two different ways of saying it, but also has singular, dual, and plural. And like I said, I don't want you guys to wrap your minds around this concept too much, because the more you do it, the more you get into Chahta, the more you listen, the more you speak, the more this is going to be easier. But I'm just going to stick with the singular forms for this video, and maybe in another video we can talk about the singular, plural, and dual verbs of all the other verbs that possibly could have those terms. Anyway, so banile, banile. So Chakta has this one concept. If it has two meanings, it always like the action of and in the position of, or in the, what is that, in the state of, a lot of people like to say. So banili, banili, there's no nasalization, you just say banili. So that's the action of sitting, so getting into the sitting position. So if you're standing up and you're getting into the position of sitting, then you would say banilele, banilele. But once you are sitting down, like you've already banile, and you're sitting in your chair or sitting on your bed or sitting on the floor, wherever you're sitting, as soon as you get in that position, then it becomes banile, banile. So banile to get into that position, banile to be in that position. So sitting, to sit, to be sitting, if that makes sense. So I could say, Ama banili, banilale. I'm sitting in my chair. Ama banili, banilali tok. I sat in my chair. Just change up the sentence for on you. Anyway, so banile to get into the sitting position, and banile to be sitting. Oh man, so we're gonna get into the last word of this video, which is kashofi. Kashofi. So kashofi means to clean, to clean. So if you wanted to say something like I'm cleaning, you could say kashofile, kashofile. And I guess technically I'm gonna add on a 30-second word that we're gonna talk about, because I don't want people to say like they're washing dishes but use kashofi. So to wash is achifa, achifa. So you have kashofi to clean, and then achifa to wash. So if you're washing dishes, you can say ampo achifale, ampo achifale. I'm washing dishes. But if you're cleaning, um, like your car or something like that. You're cleaning your car out. You can say, Anka kashofale. Anka kashofale. I'm cleaning my car. And so don't use kashofi for to wash, but don't use achifa for to clean. So kashofi to clean, achifa to wash. And another thing I want to add is that you've probably seen kashofi in the Chahta hymn book or in the Bible somewhere, because kashofi can also mean to cleanse also. So if you want to say something like Issa kashofahin lahom, Issa kashofahin lahom, that's saying, can you forgive me? Can you forgive me? So it's like, can you cleanse me? It's kind of literally what it means, but it's more so saying like, can you forgive me? Can you forgive me? So that's another thing. So if you're wondering why there's kashofi in the Bible or in the Chakta hymns, then that's what its meaning is, to forgive. So kashofi, to clean or to forgive, and achifa, of course, to wash. Well, so we made it to the end of the video, and so I hope that this video helped you guys, because I think that these are the verbs that'll help you get started. These are the basic verbs to help you get started speaking today. Like if you learn these, just remember it's not gonna happen overnight. Uh, Speaking in another language or learning another language, it doesn't take one day to do. It takes pretty much a lifetime, and so it takes a really long time. But I know if you practice, if you keep on it, then eventually you're gonna get to that point where you're able to have small conversations, and that's what we want to do. Um, and I just want to say that chata kila numpale. Anumpayat Amafina Hadavush Hachimabachi Svanna. Uh, let's speak Choctaw. Choctaw is very important to me, and so I want to teach you all. So if you like this video, please leave a big thumbs up on the video. Share it with people if you want. Please subscribe if you haven't. It really helps me out a lot, and also leave a comment down below. Just tell me what you liked. If this video helped you, or videos you want to see in the future, because the comment section helps out a lot too. And so I just want to say Hachi Kukili Fina and Makalla Hachipin Salachigi.